This happens almost every year. At the end of the year comes a device that surprises everyone. And it's not expensive. It's not a flagship top-tier device from Samsung or Huawei or Apple, but it's a Chinese manufacturer that manages to cram a lot of processing power and some surprises into a smartphone that costs only $549. Let me say that again, $549 for a device that has two OLED screens. Yes, this is the Nubia Z20, and this is a small review with some impressions after only 1 week of playing around with it. So why not start with the basics? This is a phone that has two OLED screens, one on the back and one on the front. The front, as you can see, has absolutely no notches, and it's almost curved to the extreme on the sides. It's very similar to the Huawei Mate 30 Pro. It has a 6.42 inches display on the front and a 5.1 inches display on the back. Basically, the display on the back is quite accessible by pressing this button. In terms of raw power, it has a Snapdragon 855 Plus processor. It has the best GPU on the market. You can play any games you want on it, on either screen. And supposedly it comes in two versions, one with 6 and one with 8 GB of RAM, and another one with 512 GB of storage, but that is nowhere to be found on their website. What do we have so special? Well, this is a 48 megapixel camera, the main shooter on the phone, but it has also an 8 megapixel camera with a telephoto lens, a 3x zoom, I'm guessing it's one of these, and a wide 16 megapixel camera with a 12mm aperture. So what's so special about this phone? Well, the first time I took it out of the box, which I don't have anymore, that's why this is another Nubia Z20, it felt very light. Why? Because Nubia and ZTE, the mother company, chose to build this phone out of aluminum. So there's no stainless steel, and it weighs about 186 grams. That's a lot less than other flagships like the iPhone 11 Pro Max or the Note 10 or the Huawei Mate 30 Pro. And that's combined with a battery of 4000 mAh and two dual OLED screens makes this, I think, the lightest phone in the world considering the big battery and the two screens. One of the things that would be a problem when you have a phone with two screens would be the fingerprint. If you want to use the second screen, the one on the back, most likely you've enrolled only one fingerprint, maybe the thumb, and that's why this phone has two fingerprint readers on the sides, one on the left and one on the right. They are identical, they use the same data, so basically you can enroll one fingerprint on the right and then duplicate it on the left. That means you can use the phone however you want. So the implementation is quite different because we saw Motorola Razr, the new Moto Razr, and that one has two screens, one on the back and one on the side. But the big difference is that Motorola doesn't allow you to use all the Android functions on the small screen. Just the camera app and a few other apps that involves notifications and quick replies to messages or WhatsApp messages and whatnot. Now the big problem with this phone is that you have to carry one of these around because it gets smudges all over itself. And I don't understand why they gave us a case. I have no clue, because you don't want to hide this beauty. I understand you might scratch it, but that's why you can put something like this. I don't like film protectors on screens. They make the screen feel so junky and dirty. The thing is, I wouldn't use this case either. I want to see the screen, especially that the smaller screen, it's a little bit dimmer than the bigger one. So the most special thing about this phone is the dual screen feature. And the first week, I've only used the smaller screen. I wanted to feel like, I don't know, in 2015, 2014, when a 5.1 inch display was actually the biggest screen around, and the bezels weren't so small. So the second screen offers exactly the same functions as the big screen, but it lacks in brightness. That's it. That's the main thing. So you can open the camera from the back screen and automatically it will open in the selfie mode. And I have to agree, this is the best camera on a phone that costs about $500 and doesn't come from a big brand name like Huawei, Apple, Samsung and whatnot. So, the selfie test, it has a little bit of stabilization, especially if in selfie mode. It has, of course, a beauty mode. It's called Pretty, which we are going to turn off. Like, if we could turn this off forever, would be great. But right now, above me, it's a black ceiling with a little bit of soundproof that's coming off. Two white lights, two big lights. They are quite bright and the camera manages to isolate them pretty good, so I can see the up camera. Now this is impressive. So with Pretty mode off, I'm gonna take a selfie in the position you should never use. You should never take a selfie from down below because your chin will be all over the place like this. But my point is not to be pretty on camera, but to show you the details of this camera. The texture on the sweater is actually there. The colors are all right. Actually, that's my natural color, so that's perfect. And the details are all there. So, normally right now we would test the other camera, but this is the only one. So I'm going to go in wide mode. Oh, it has a portrait mode. Switch screen to shoot. Now this is a little bug that someone would call a feature. It doesn't allow you to shoot portrait mode in selfie mode unless you turn the phone around. And that's stupid because I want to shoot portrait mode even in selfie mode. Now in portrait mode we have three options. Main camera, close-up, that's the 3x optical zoom, and the wide angle lens. And the thing is, there are three different cameras. So basically you're going to get three different type of white balance. They're not going to look the same. So use them wisely. I'm gonna shoot the main camera like this and see how far it goes. It's actually quite dark in here. The camera and the software lights it up a little. Those are some lights. The front camera looks okay, looks decent. And the monitor in the back is quite, I don't know, it looks like a digital retouched image. That's it, and no more. That's because for the portrait mode, the phone uses the normal camera and the wide angle camera. I should take a photo of a close-up like this at 1x to show you. Oh, it went into super micro spur. I think that's super macro. Look, it says right here, super micro spur. That's definitely super macro. They have to check their English translation. Oh my God, it got a watermark. Shot on Nubia Z20. Oh yes, triple camera. The colors are all right, although there's a little bit of sharpening happening there. But if you use it in bright light outside, maybe on a sunny or cloudy day would be preferable, because on a cloudy day you have a large softbox above you and no reflections. This is going to perform actually very, very good. Now on the video side, there's a little thing here called 4K 60 FPS. Now that's good, but only if you use the front camera with the big display, because if you turn it to selfie mode, it doesn't allow you to record 4K in 60 FPS, and I don't understand why, because you should basically have a flip phone or something. And there's an 8K beta option recommended for outdoor use. I have to advise you, we have a small video, I'll put the link down below. The 8K movie recording is actually rubbish. It's in 15 FPS maximum. It needs a lot of light, and it doesn't have any kind of stabilization. That's the big problem on this phone. It almost uses the entire sensor. Actually, it's a 48 megapixel sensor, so basically it uses about 32 or 33 megapixels for recording, and that would be enough to use some stabilization, but it doesn't have any. The good part is, if you have an option to shoot in 8K on your phone, think about time lapses. Those are a great option, especially with a higher resolution, especially if you use it outside on a sunny day or maybe a cloudy day. So the price of this phone is $549. That's with the 820 gigabytes of storage and 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not sure, depends on the market, depends where you buy it from. I would advise you to buy it from Nubia, the official website, but maybe there's a seller in your country that gives the same price and maybe offers you a warranty in your state. That being said, this is the most unexpected surprise of 2019 that doesn't come from a big brand like Huawei, Apple, Samsung. Yes, I said that 3 times because I'm looking at you. I'm not so disappointed in your phones this year, but you could have done better. Hey, this is an idea. Call Nubia and ask for some patents. So that's it for today. My name is Radu, this is the Nubia Z20, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you didn't like it, well, that's your choice. There's a dislike button, and I'll see you next time. Cheers! And don't forget to subscribe. We would love that.